How do you feel? You feel ready? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Do you need to stretch?
I've lost centre.
Okay, well, groovy. Hello, Christopher. Welcome to the Heady New Zealand store. I'm so pleased to have you here, and I'm pleased to introduce you to people that may have never heard of you before, or reintroduce you and remind you to the people who already know and love you that you still exist. Yay! For people who do not know you, can you please tell me who you are? What have you been involved in that's related to cannabis or our counterculture here in New Zealand?
Well, welcome. Thank you for hosting me here in this wonderful, fitted out, pristine shop. Come on down. I would just like to say my name is Christopher Coker. I'm currently a standing representative for the Bay of Plenty area as Aotearoa Legalised Cannabis Party representative. Whoop. So if you're eligible to vote, every vote counts, literally.
That is how they count them.
That's how they count them, each one by one. So if you don't think your individual vote counts, it literally does.
Point. Yeah.
And prior to that, I was the volunteer DJ at the Dactory. People may or may not have heard about the Dactory, wonderful place, social cannabis smoking place.
Where was that place?
New Lynn. The first original Dactory was led by Dr. Green in New Lynn. It was running for 3 years. I was the volunteer DJ for 2 of those years. It was a wonderful experience living the possible as close to Amsterdam coffee shop culture as you could get here in Aotearoa.
Amazing.
That's why I felt obliged to be the volunteer DJ. And yeah, it was such a loving and kind and family orientated establishment where the young, the old, the crippled, the non-crippled, the socially awkward and the non-socially awkward, like myself, all gathered together in lounge suites and shared joints and had wonderful times. That's my first earliest stages of cannabis culture, walking into the Dactory and feeling like I was at home with the same like-minded souls that were freely and open about their cannabis experience. It's quite a weird thing to obviously dress and represent yourself as a Heady fairy or
as a walking, talking weed leaf and beautiful advocate for the cause. Yeah, it's definitely a walk of life that not everyone would take, but I feel like we need to do that. Those who are comfortable need to do that for those who are not, who want to be.
This is great.
Yeah.
So entertainment and education, that's why I dress like this. An amount of conversations from people obviously dress like this. You get the odd few winks, you get the few tugs on from the children indicating to their parents that possibly their parents wouldn't like their children to know that the dad, that guy is like what you've got at your house. Like,
shh, child, no.
Don't stay away from that man. That's the weed guy. But it's good to come out of the green closet, and I feel the activation of the smiles. Majority of the people, it is the friendly wave and the hey, wow, nice suit. Like what you're up to. So it is normally a positive experience. I haven't had many negative altercations out in the general public, so I feel very, very positive towards the public's view towards cannabis these days. And I'm just trying to bring more awareness to the fact that it is still illegal. Although I'm a medical patient, yourself as a medical patient, I'm encouraging other people to become VIPs, very informed patients, to then ripple effect the awareness that you can get prescription cannabis from your doctor. Unfortunately, still, I believe it's 1 every other day. A report came out, 180 people gone to jail last year for cannabis, and that's still not pretty cool. It's unfortunate that we're losing a brave one of our people, because it's hard to be associated as a cannabis consumer, be in your own and hold your own and still not be able to actually be open as you possibly might want to be, knowing that there's a chance of serious obligations with the government and possibly going to jail, which is a stink place to go.
Exactly, and we try and teach people that we want to promote honesty in our communities and with the way that we express ourselves to other people. So making people have to feel like they have to live a lie just to keep themselves out of a confined box. It's ridiculous that we have to do it. It's ridiculous that other people have to do it or have to have their life permanently affected by being harshly penalized for something that we know we're going to move into a space where eventually even recreational cannabis use will be legal, and it will make it seem so pointless for all those people who had to waste their time experiencing the harsh hand of the law over something that we will have to obviously readdress when we are in a place of legalization. So, I mean, I feel sorry for America all the time. Can you imagine all of those police officers who just felt like they, for some reason, were really doing their best job, being absolutely horrible to a poor pot smoker? And we've experienced that as well. Everyone has who, no one's started in a place where we just were legal and stayed legal. So we all have to go through this process. And I'm just glad that we're coming around to a new way of doing things, and that we now feel like we're in our baby California stage, which is really exciting.
Yes, it is. Speaking of that, they have been treating us like we don't have the internet. It is quite hard as a pioneer, knowing that California is 30 years advanced for the medical use of cannabis. I joke with some of my Canadian friends that, our activism and our safe spaces for consuming our medicine. I don't know if you're aware that one of my good friends, Chris Farley from the Hemp Store, holds a medicational safe space right there on K Road. So if you do have your medication with you and you do want to stop in, stand out the front of the Hemp Store and consume your...
And that is the Hemp Store on K Road.
K Road in Auckland City. Yeah, come on down.
So I didn't actually know about
this
that.
This is not a paid advertisement, but just declaring a social safe space for our community.
Exactly, and we do need situations like that. I experienced a moment where I was enjoying my medicine and needed to do so, otherwise there would be no way I was going to be able to eat a meal. And so I was consuming, and somebody smelt the smoke, and they seemed to be someone who was living a different lifestyle than I guess I am used to. But they decided to pretend to be a police officer and harass two young people near me, thinking that that is where the smoke was coming from, and started saying, "Excuse me, I can smell this. This is the police. Give me your stuff right now." And these poor people were terrified. Now, if I was in a space that I felt like I was going to, people could immediately see, oh, look, this is a medical space, there's the smell, that makes sense, this is all, then it would mean that people would not feel like someone could behave that way and have everyone let that slide, because I feel like a lot of people were very confused, because people do know it's illegal, but people do know that there's medical. So I feel like people in the public who witnessed this experience of this person, they weren't even sure whether they should be on the side of these two poor young people who were being harassed, or if that was the way it should go, because it's illegal. So yeah, we need more spaces where we can use medically and safely, where we're not going to be harassed, and we need to make it a regular thing that people witness this. Oh yes, people medically using. Yes, that's what I would expect, as much as you'd expect someone to use their inhaler if they needed to throughout the day. It should be a normalized thing, for sure. So that's really cool, that hearing about the hemp store that's doing that. That's beautiful. And is that, I assume that's a space that they only have it open, or it's
basically right in the front. It's right in the front of their shop on K Road. And there's a little sign out the front: medicate here, safe space for medical cannabis consumption.
Beautiful. All they need now is a dog. They just need a dog for people to pat while they're having their time, and then you have the ideal mid space. They need, I feel like the hemp store needs a dog. Future ideas, hemp store. Just a suggestion here. Tell me why you became a cannabis advocate, and tell me if that reason has changed for you over the years.
I use medical cannabis now, licensed medical cannabis. If you can just hand me my.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, this is not a paid advertisement, and I probably can't show you the jar, but I will show you that this is my little. Can't open it if I had arthritis, so shout out to all my elderly friends with arthritis. I'm not too sure what we're going to do about that. But I proudly showed my mother this jar just earlier December, late last year. And a big smile on my mother's face came across, knowing that I am now a medical licensed holding cannabis consumer and no longer a naughty scallywag.
A criminal, yeah.
A potential criminal. I'm not gratefully and thankfully I'm not a criminal. And now potentially never will be, due to me holding this
a piece of plastic.
Printed
Amazing.
out by my doctor. So my doctor now prescribes me. He's got a PhD. He's done his studies. He now knows about.
Drug dealer.
Yeah, he's my now licensed drug dealer.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's PhD qualified. He's a doctorate in actual medicine. So it's I am a doctor. So my original Dr. Christ name came from attending the dactory. You'll see we all had our pseudonyms when we were there, and so throwing up our D's to our friends across the mall or across the street as we walked in normal society, we could associate ourselves kind of like the old.
Did you get matching tattoos or anything?
I don't know if anybody went as far as matching tattoos, but it was definitely throw up the old. So I don't know if you know, back in the day we used to call cannabis DAC, D-A-K, DAC, and so it was the old. Want to come out the back garage, this party's a bit, slow, let's go and have a DAC. And then the boys would go out and have a DAC with their mates. And then so we just took upon our, this is our little D. So, it could symbolise our culture to others that without shouting up, yo, brother from the hood. It's like, nice little. So if you ever see me up there on the street, just throw me up a D.
Yeah, he's not saying that he wants to pinch your bum. He's just saying he likes smoking cannabis. Yeah. Although he may, that's his own separate thing. I don't know what the hand gesture is.
Well, the other joke, this is as much respect as we get from the rest of the culture. The smallest violin in the world. They've seemed to have forgotten cannabis culture, and they've left us to the medical realm, and still not full acceptance. So I just want my full acceptance as a normal human being who chooses my path of inhalation for balance of my endocannabinoid system. So I'm basically out there teaching everybody about the endocannabinoid system. If that's a new word to you, look it up. ECS, endocannabinoid system. Don't be afraid if it's a new word to you. It's actually a new word to doctors and nurses as well. So, joke's not on you, not on them, but the entire population of humanity that are only coming around to reasons for good health. I firmly believe in the positive medical benefits of cannabis being a early initiative pain reliever. I've had spinal pain, sciatic nerve pain from an L4, L5 slipped herniated disc for over 2 decades, and back to me being a naughty scallywag, allegedly cultivating my own cannabis on behalf of myself.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, allegedly. And back in the day, it is. I do. Yeah. So cannabis is actually the gateway to the garden. I don't know if you have grown a plant from seedling to flower to then ingestion with a little bit of, gratefulness for pleasurable experience to know what went into your plant, all the positive intentions, singing, talking to it, and then finally thanking it as you consume it and whisk yourself away to the healing properties that Mother Ganja can give you when inhalation from this beautiful little plant can give.
Well, I was going to say it's much like making babies until you said consume it. Don't eat your babies. But it is, it's a beautiful process that I look forward to being able to have the privilege to experience when I feel like I can do that without worrying about my whole life getting turned upside down by just wanting to continue a passion I already have for gardening. I already try and grow as a vegan person who loves whole foods. I already grow my food and things that I think that are healthy for my body that I want to consume and have in my body, and I would love to bring that into also being able to provide my own herbal medicines for me.
Lots of people are aware of THC, and now the new game player on the streets is the CBD, and we must remember that CBD actually stands for cannabidiol, not cannabinoids. I get a little bit annoyed myself when participants in my culture are taking a CBD product that unfortunately has been mislabeled or misrepresented accidentally, probably unintentionally, but it probably has too much THC in it.
Oh, and so they're experiencing psychoactive effects
to be
from
called
something
a CBD medicine.
Right, no, I have actually experienced that recently, where I've had a friend tell me that she was having it was a herbal plant blend that did claim to have high levels of CBD in it, and she said that after she had more than she had the initial drop and then waited and then found that she wasn't feeling pain relief or inflammation, that her inflammation wasn't going down, so she tried 2 more drops and then suddenly was very high. And she said, well, I don't really want to touch this because she's not someone who likes using recreational cannabis. She's not looking for a psychoactive effect. She is, however, looking for pain relief and something to help with her inflammation. And it's sad when I see people feeling like they're deterred from using a very helpful cannabis product because it has been mislabeled, or it's just because we don't have any regulation or the opportunity to have many different companies and even lab space to create these products. So yeah, we have people making jungle juice at home and labeling it with whatever they think is right, and that's what we have to deal with when we don't have a legal market to play with. When we are playing around in the shadows with things, you do get something that there is no constant standard. There is. And that's really hard for obviously people who are trying to receive medical cannabis, who are maybe coming into it later in their life, and they are really just wanting something that is a reliable medicine, not something that is a roll of the dice, you know?
Yeah, people that are coming from the pharmaceutical industry of medicine, ingestion, they're wanting that one pill, it fixes it, you can definitely feel it's worked, and then you're into it for the next day. Unfortunately, cannabis and cannabinoid medicines is a little bit of an experimentation with each individual human having a different individual experience. So with the psychoactive properties of the THC, it's a very certain setting with any psychoactive drug like your mescalins, your cactis, your LSDs.
Any of those entheogens.
Any of those ones, it's not my realm. I'm a cannabinoid guy, so yeah, I don't know too much about those other than that's where the dragon realm is.
That's my TED talk next time, kids.
The dragon realm. Okay, but yeah, if you do take enough THC psychoactives, you can go to that dragon realm, and that's why participating in the educational side about cannabinoid ingestion and making sure that the mislabeling of CBD medicine and then having that THC molecule attached to that CBD medicine, it's a bit of a scary thing for myself, knowing the new patients that are coming into our cannabis realm.
That we want to welcome.
We want to welcome everybody into it. We want to welcome
everybody. In any way feel like they're having some adverse reaction that is so preventable.
It is. And so we're trying to join up with the Drug Foundation and the NZ Know Your Stuff harm reduction. There is testing available for your drugs if you just look up those 2 departments.
Yep, Know Your Stuff, love your work.
Know Your Stuff out there at festivals, doing the best work you can for all of us people. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for all your good hearty work. And the NZ Drug Foundation from being down there and representing, trying to persuade the general populace that the safest way to NZ drug harm reduction is more open conversations, more awareness, and
educating people.
And acceptance. If we can be acceptance for our seemed drug culture or altered state of awareness culture, then we should freely be allowed to, as I was saying before, consume cannabis. And so we could both be sitting here consuming the same cannabis cigarette, cannabis joint, and I could be just sitting calmly just contemplating all of my days and weeks experiences. And my friend over here could very well be under the same influence, but yet just feeling a whole different. Can you hear that? I don't know. I'm sure. Are we going to the next party or what? Because no, let's go. And it's that human experience. If you've ever, sat next to somebody like myself, you may or may not know that I'm currently under an influence of cannabis. So yes, I'm not on that couch like mercy. What people don't know, it's the terpenes that steer the emotional direction of the feelings of the weed, man. So right now, I've probably got too much impromethazine and maybe some CBN. Oh, my THC is like left in my weed jar and it's gone to CBN. You should look into that. So what people don't know about cannabinoids is there's hundreds of them, and terpenes, hundreds of them also. Cannabinoids and terpenes interact with your endocannabinoid system and form a possible new word again for the day, homeostasis.
That is your balance on a cellular level. Yeah, we want to help our body get to the state where it feels like it is a high functioning, well-oiled machine, and cannabis is amazing for bringing us to that space.
So smoking with intention, it's the new and old thing.
When it comes to harm reduction, what suits you may not suit other people. Always remember that, and find your own, what works for you. What is your therapeutic dose, or what is your recreational dose? And feel free not to give in to peer pressure, and stick with what works with you, because that's totally cool. Because it is cool to be able to chat and have a great time with your friends instead of, yeah, that was a beautiful reenactment there. Unless that is your desired effect, in which no judgment. I don't judge you. Don't judge yourself too harshly. It's not good for you.
And with the correct education, we may know how to pull that person back out of that overdose of THC, that couch lock. So with using CBD isolates or CBG isolates, within 15 to half an hour, you can bring that person back out of their couch lock feeling and have them back articulating their words like that never happened. So it's knowing about the uses of cannabis correctly, the balance of the highs and the lows. I liken the balance of THC and CBD similar to the two main characters from The Simpsons, Bart Simpson and his sister Lisa Simpson.
Okay.
So Bart Simpson is the naughty THC molecule sitting in the backseat of the car, always getting strangled by Homer, always just like taking the ride for the ride. Lisa Simpson, this loving sister, the more educated, the more balanced, the more grounding. Come on, Bart, pull your head in, come back, sit in the car nicely, kind of balancing, more grounding kind of child there.
Both of these characters within their show, there were times and places for either of them, and there were some times that one of them on their own, wasn't what was appropriate for the situation, and sometimes both of them in balance is exactly what makes everyone happy. And I feel that can be applied as well to cannabis. So I really do like that analogy. Yeah. And I think that makes me think of the fact that I was going to ask you what you would suggest for people who do not feel like they would identify themselves as a cannabis advocate, if they wanted to step into that light for themselves, for whatever reason they feel like they want to do that. I would say educating themselves is a really important part, because you obviously want to be able to speak freely about the things that you're passionate about, while also knowing that you're giving people the right information and you are encouraging the right rhetoric around this. And so if someone doesn't have a political background, they haven't ever worked with like a political party, what would you say that would be their steps forward to advocate for cannabis in a positive way?
I would like to firstly say there's 1,000 ways to do it right and 1,000 ways to do it wrong. And coming out of the green closet at 100 miles an hour dressed in a cannabis suit, ripping like there's no tomorrow, like a warrior ready to die on the battlefield in the war against drugs, it might not be up to you. You might want to just take that more social approach on the couch and come out to one of your friends and just say, have I ever told you, like, I smoke ganja? And,
that's why I didn't get drunk the other night. When you guys got drunk, I was actually, you always ask me why I don't drink, so I just smoke weed, man.
So just come out to some of your closest friends.
That could be fine.
Whenever you feel that comfortability with your closest ones that are going to give you that reassurance that, we always thought you knew that about you anyway, but it's okay, acceptance, it's what we're after.
Yeah.
And reason why most of us have stayed inside that green closet is because Cheech and Chong mistakenly may have looked like the two social hillbilly type characters that we may not have wanted to be associated with. Like myself, I found them hilarious. That was the type of characters I looked up to and thought were like the go-to guys at the party.
Exactly, and so some people really like those representations, but I think it was also how some people really enjoyed those representations, but much like how race and different people's cultures were represented in movies and things, initially everything was kind of a joke at the expense of the people they were talking about. And in some ways, people felt like they celebrated whatever their recreational use was. But yeah, some people felt like, no, I don't want to be associated with this Cheech and Chong character. I don't want people to think that I'm like this stereotype of a stoner, and I can understand that. But I mean, that's why being a good advocate can sometimes be letting people who already know you, as they know all the amazing things they love about you and how you contribute to society in a way that they consider already as meaningful. When you open up to them about your use, that can help put a new face on cannabis for people and help more people understand that it's not just that stereotype, and that can make people feel more comfortable coming out of that green closet as well. It can make it easier for other people who are a bit more hesitant. I really enjoyed that when I had a conversation with my mum recently about having my medical bag with my little sticker and my name and everything like that. That solidified it in her mind as being slightly more okay, because she doesn't come from a cannabis background in any way. She doesn't really have much knowledge on that, and she likes the fact that I'm communicating with her as I'm going through these different avenues to help solidify my desire to take this choice for my body. And keeping her in the loop makes her feel like she is becoming more knowledgeable about it. She's more accepting. Maybe the next time she hears about somebody else using it for medical, she'll think not only is that something that people are doing, but that's something that her daughter is doing. And so coming out to friends, family could be really good.
Yeah, it's just about you being you as well, like not having to feel that you have to dress up or like put your makeup on or anything that you don't feel comfortable. It's that first step of acting as you and just adding that little, by the way, I smoke cannabis and I enjoy it, or it works for me as a medicine, or I take it recreationally to soothe my pain at night, or however you choose to use it. You should feel accepted in yourself and be allowed to discuss it with your friends and family first and foremost, and then obviously join up to a political party, join up to a activation movement in your local area, find groups on Facebook that are socially bringing positive awareness and education. That's why I joined Aotearoa Legalized Cannabis Party.
How did that come to be? Was that you just doing research or meeting friends of friends, or?
Well, the referendum came around in 2020 and I got a phone call from my long-founded friend, Maki Herbert. Shout out, Mum. My whānau mum from Northland. Much love. I knew her from the daiquiri, so she was my queenie at the daiquiri. She'd brought her Nana, a 90-year-old lady, into the daiquiri. Once again, a beautiful social place for consuming ganja. Her loving experiences of being around recreational cannabis consumers at that age. She very much enjoyed her social times there. Ping pong tables, pool tables, dartboards, bongs, spotting knives, library, DJ.
This guy.
DJ, stop playing that. So, we had all types of people attending, as well as Maki and her Nana. And so after the daiquiri finally fell away to the wayside, once the police came in and closed it down, we split off and went our separate ways. Maki moved up to Northland and became the candidate for the Northland. I moved to Bay of Plenty area and no longer pursued any form of cannabis advocacy at that stage. I was attempting to get my cannabis hemp farmer's license in 2017.
Right, so you're playing it good.
Yeah.
Or playing the game to try
Yeah.
and get that little
Yeah, so
scribble here or scribble there.
So unfortunately, I suffered from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu injury where I lost function and use of my arm. So
Is that common?
only when you get spear tackled like this and land on your neck and it tears the nerve tissues. So
Not to do at home.
and so as a suspended ceiling installer by trade, I could no longer hold my tools up above my this one. Literally, after the incident, I stood up and did the double chicken wing. So in my mind, I was doing this, and unfortunately, So for a year and a half, 2 years, slowly but surely, I got movement.
You got your chicken back.
Yeah, I got my left chicken back. See, but moving pathways from being a trade qualified suspended ceiling installer and proprietary partitioner. I was looking around, what am I going to do with my life if I can't hold my arm up, and if I get broke out again, what am I going to do? So I decided to turn my hobby into my dream. Everybody, you can get full-time paid employment in the cannabis industry if you want to. Look into it.
It's true.
Look into it. So I set into doing that, getting full-time paid employment in the cannabis industry. I got my hemp license. I looked into having healthy hempy hens. That's right, healthy hempy hens. Because in Denver, Colorado, they'd already used the omega-3 and omega-6 enrichment from the seeds and the nutrition from the fan leaves and sprouts and tips, fed that to the chickens, and it went straight through the chicken into the egg. So the omega-3 and 6 enrichment that we're all hearing about now in the seeds, you are what you eat. Chickens also are what they eat, and also that enrichment went through the chicken into the egg. So I thought, light bulb, I'll get my license, I'll have healthy hempy hen eggs, and I'll sell hemp-enriched omega-3, 6.
And is that something that's happening now?
Unfortunately, no, because the MPI, Ministry of Primary Industries, sent me a lovely letter to say,
Don't be doing that.
Christopher, no, we've changed the law. Yes, you're allowed to have it in hemp seed oil, so yes, humans are now allowed to have hemp seed. Thank you, government. Hemp seed is very good for you. Unfortunately, it's not okay for your livestock or your pets. So the government did a flippity-floppity.
Wait, are you saying it's not healthy for these animals?
It's just not legal for you to give it to them.
So it's not
legal.
legal.
It could possibly be healthy for them.
Right. I was just
But
checking
it is
if
not
it was
legal.
harmful to their health. I would, I would
No.
say stop that right away. But if it's just one of those laws that we need to change again.
20 years ago, I would get hemp seeds crushed from a health food shop that said animal product only, not for human consumption.
Yes.
Because the law would not allow the health food shop to sell hemp seeds crushed and packaged for human consumption. It was packaged in a food processing place, but it was food for pets labelled on the back of the packet.
Oh, wow.
And now flippity-floppity around to 2017, Ministry of Primary Industries have gone the other way around and squashed my big dreams of having a hemp farm, healthy hempy hens.
Eggs.
Yeah, but never mind, the dream is still there. I can still obviously run through the rigmarole of processing the hemp into pelletization, having, I believe, maximum of 70% hemp, or is it 30%? I gave up looking because once they said pelletization I was like, hang on, that's not what I'm into. I'm into just like chopping and dropping and sprinkling and, here's the next round of shade leaves, girls. Yeah, eat that. Here's some sprouts. Eat those.
Well, you didn't want to waste power and water creating something you didn't need to.
Why would I need to create a pelletized food product for my chickens?
Uniform, much like how they want people to be.
I don't know. I didn't look into it. I'm just like, okay, on to the next pioneering adventure. It's hard life being right at the front of cannabis legalization and knowing where you can and where you can't, what you can and can't say. Back to the advertising. Not allowed to advertise at all cannabis. It's hard to get out there. You are allowed to advertise the unit. So yeah, out there if you're wanting any. Now this one, as I was discussing earlier off camera, is the type of item that you can take through customs.
Apparently so.
without them turning a blind eye. With them turning the blind eye, they don't need to turn the blind eye because this is registered to almost every government as a cannabinoid extraction medical device.
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
Some people call them
read one of those.
dry herb vaporizers, but yeah, if you look into it, this particular mighty medic, registered to majority of the governments around the world. I'd look into it before traveling into some of the countries. But yes, I proudly just took this over and back again from Australia, also with my beautiful product. Traveled safely, ticked on the boxes. Yes, I am carrying a controlled medicine, declared what it was.
Did anyone stop you and ask to look at your device and look for medical cannabis and your ID and this, that?
I was dressed like this in the airport. I did speak to the customs control officers, border control people.
You wanted to get on border control, didn't you?
Had a good time with me. You might catch me on the next coming episode of Border Control.
He's hoping. The outfit needs to be on TV.
The education needs to be out there. Endocannabinoid system. Look into it. Could be the savior of your own life or your friends' lives. Who knows? I'm not here claiming I'm not a doctor. I'm a doctor. Once again, no medical advice given here live on stage. This is all my own in-one human experience of how cannabis has helped heal me and kept me alive.
I think around kind of the 2015 to 2017 sort of period, there were a lot of documentaries and stories that came out that I feel like were the start of people changing their opinion about cannabis, starting to consider it or reconsider it as something that has its medical value. Are there any stories that specifically, or like any one story that stuck out to you that you, when you first heard it, you were like, oh my God, I'm so glad that this is ready and available for people to see. This is going to really change the narrative for us.
Obviously the Charlotte Webby story, how a young lady with multiple seizures on the daily could just take a simple cannabidiol, once again CBD, non-THC tincture, and have those seizures just stop. So from going on having hundreds to zero is like something that puts into the forefront of your mind as a parent. Being a parent myself, having lovely, healthy children that don't have this debilitating disease. Thankfully, there is these medicines now that are more readily available.
I definitely do feel like that was the initial strain that even let people know that it was possible to have any cannabis flower that wasn't just going to get you high, because I feel like a lot of people didn't even realize that depending on the environment and depending on the strain itself, you can have very different results, and not everything's going to get you high. And yeah, seeing people even use it for children, I think children is always a soft spot for a lot of people. No one wants to see a suffering child, and people do want to see something that works, and it was clearly something that did work. That strain and that story, and I saw a few different English documentaries that were showing these, a variety of different kids experiencing these reoccurring seizures, experiencing like complete change in life and life experience just because of this medicine. So yeah, I definitely think that was the biggest one for sure.
When I received the banter from the uneducated, I suppose you want to give dope to the children. I'm like, well, yeah, if it's recommended by their doctor, do a little bit of research on, once again, the endocannabinoid system and how cannabinoids can literally, heal people from early on to late stages of life.
Well, I even think about the fact that I know that it's commonplace for if you have a kind of a teenage age child, if they're going to get a sporting injury, for example, now like it's very common and has been common for ages for kids to be given really heavy duty addictive opioids, and we don't really think much about that, and that's doping your kids, friend. That is making, anyone who's ever experienced opioids, you will know that is not something that does not have some sort of psychoactive effect. It does change, it alters your mind, it gets you high, And so, yeah, I would much prefer a healthier alternative. If we're going to give drugs to kids, then yeah, I would prefer cannabis instead of giving them tramadol or OxyContin or something like that. Yeah, I think that is better. So it is definitely something that is thrown in people's faces. Oh yeah, drug the children? Yeah, drug the children. Drug the children.
It's well known, pharmacists and doctors, the cannabis side effects profile is a well accepted, it has a very good looking side effects profile. And by saying that, I mean, there's limited side effects.
Happy, hungry, sleepy, you're good.
Yeah, as the other side effect profile, you look into any prescription medicine and the list on the back. If you are able to read
attacks, losing your hair, maybe you're going to become
suicidal thoughts,
forgetful, and some. Oh yeah, I love the antidepressants that will commonly have acute suicidal thoughts as its first most common side effect. Sometimes, yeah, with these pharmaceuticals, I get scared when I see these potential side effect lists. So you do not see that scary list when it comes to cannabis. So yeah, again, when it comes to what we give to children, what we give to the elderly, what we give to sick people, I do want to be choosing the safer option. Yeah, and I definitely don't feel, I feel like more people need to feel confident in saying, yeah, actually, when I think about it logically, that does make more sense.
Yeah. I'm not a drug pusher by any stage. I'm freedom of choice, and if you want to take pharmaceutical drugs for your headaches, that's up to you. If you want to consume a chemovar or a strain of cannabis that helps with headaches, then consume some cannabis and make sure it's the right chemovar, because as we were discussing earlier, the aromatic compounds of the cannabis may calm the headache or it might bring on the headache. So it's really important that that's where the educational side to cannabis comes in, and knowing that you can come to a place where they have a list of cannabises and a list of potential side effects or effects, and pair those up with your wanted experience. If it's restfulness and pain relief, clear-headedness, then those options are available. We will get there eventually in New Zealand because we do live with the computer program called the internet, and I've been over the seas and I've seen it with my eyes and experienced it myself. My friend here has also, I can't speak for her because, you know, I'm not her experience, but she was saying earlier to me, she'd also been over the seas and seen things that she would like to see here. And I'm a bringer of the things that I've seen.
Exactly.
So,
It's even the most simple things. Like I remember being in Amsterdam and I was sitting there just having a coffee, and I look across the canal and there's people in what would look like your typical business attire, suits, briefcase, and they all go and they walk into a cafe and they all sit down and they all get out their laptops as if they're clearly about to go into a business meeting, and they're having a joint and they're all sharing a joint, and it's just normalizing the fact that this can be a part of our everyday lives. We can completely change the way that people would assume to see a cannabis smoker. There can be benefits that are medical. It can just be an inspiration for a better business meeting. I want to see all these things that I've seen overseas, all this environments where people are accepted and where we're not wasting so much of our brain activity finding ways to judge each other, especially not about this. That is what I want to see over here.
Agreed. Handy.
Now, you are a daddy. You decided to do that thing and create another living being, or be responsible for that. You know, some people grow plants, some people grow humans. So I've been curious, when do you think would be the right age for, if they want to obviously, or if they see, if they're considering it for recreational purposes, when would you say is the right time for a child to try weed? And I mean, like, you're not just because
my child or your child?
Yeah, well, I mean,
on behalf of my children. I can only speak on behalf of my children, you see.
Yeah, just you, the dad yourself. What would you say if, like, if you imagine a scenario of you catch your child having a cone out of a bong with their friends? give me the age that you would think, oh no, this is younger than I would have thought, and then give me the age where you would think, okay, that's what they're choosing to do with their time.
Okay, so again, comes down to social acceptance, who they're with. I have many children. My oldest, Pepper Rose, she's 17. She has already allegedly started consuming cannabis. The circles of friends, you've got your drinking circles and then your smoking circles, and I feel that she, at an early stage, from my positive representation of a cannabis advocate, has picked her team. I was a little bit disappointed. I did tell her 25 years of age, the science says, the brain development. She is quick-witted and smart-mouthed like her father, and said, remember they also said cannabis was bad for you? The science said that.
Isn't that hard when you know that people were paid to support the government's, what they wanted to put across to the people, which is drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad and cannabis is a drug.
Cannabis is bad.
So yeah, it is hard when you think about how many of these
That's another brandy, Timothy.
journals.
Timothy, yes, another brandy, thank you. And a cigar. Yes, thank you, Timothy.
Yeah, how many of them were paid off by the wrong guy and telling you the wrong information? It's hard to know. So 17 years old, and you know that she may or may not be smoking, and you're not freaking out. But you think
I'm not freaking out. She's 17. I've raised her well enough that she knows morally right from wrong, and I think that's what we need to educate people about, the morality over the legality of things.
Yeah.
Coming to your heart chakra, to your knowing, to your intention, to your purpose, into what you've experienced as a human, without looking too deeply into what you've been told, what other people's experiences have been, because you're the one experiencing you, and that's why you have to feel comfortable in you and know if you can say yes or no in those moments.
Think for yourself.
Think for yourself, yeah. Question everything.
Question everything.
Question everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Fact check that. Should we question everything?
Yeah, even if you really enjoy the person who's telling you this amazing thing that you're about to take on board as your new living and breathing truth, again, it still helps to just stop and take a moment to think, is this right for me? Is this actually, maybe this person has been misinformed. As much as we love to trust the people that we love, question everything. Yeah. Question it all.
Like nobody wants to be seen as to be an asshole. I don't know if you know what an asshole is.
Oh, tell me about this.
Yeah, so an asshole is that friend that'll ask for your opinion and then just do something else anyway, like the opposite of what you've given.
Oh, yeah. I have experienced this.
You might know an asshole. If you know an asshole in your life, it's not your problem, it's their problem. They are wanting acceptance or an understanding of what you, as a friend, so they are coming to you for knowledge. They're not accepting what you would do or what you are saying in that moment, but at the same time, feel respected that they are asking you. And although they are an asshole, it's no offense to you personally, I'm sure it's some form of problem that we have of self-governance and respect to ourselves over other people's opinions. Like, do you think I look good in this? It's a bit too much. Thanks for your opinion. I'm still wearing it.
Do it anyway, yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, a bit too much. Well, sometimes there is too much. Like if I was in a church, a funeral, like
I would still rock it at a church.
I would if it was my Rasta friend, I would be there ripping us. If it was my nana, wear my nice suit for my nana.
See, I'm the sad person who, while they're crying to me about their deceased, I will say, but the suit doesn't really matter, really. And what you're getting upset about is something that is an ego story you've told yourself. So I'm not making you sad. You're making you sad.
She's right.
It's true, but that doesn't make me everyone's favorite person, but that's okay. That's not how I went to go, I did not go to make my life just me being that, so sorry kids.
And as the cool kids say these days, she is not your therapist. Y'all know what I'm saying? He is also not your therapist, although this looks like a therapist couch. We're not offering therapy, we're just offering our human experience.
Yeah, although we do like your feelings, you may have.
I appreciate it. I appreciate every speak and tolerate. I tolerate your feelings and don't get agitated or aggressive towards your feelings. Although I'm still aggressively untolerated towards the war on drugs. That's right, I'm coming for you. War on drugs. better watch your back. I'm still out here. I'm coming for you, war on drugs. Anytime, any day, any time you stand in front of me, war on drugs, represent yourself.
So within your friends and family, are there any people who you found have resisted your feelings on how you want to parent, being a cannabis parent? Has anyone ever like said to you, trying to pull you aside, going like, "Oh, I love how you've got your, you're being an advocate, but maybe you shouldn't have that around your children"? Have people approached you with that idea or no?
No, I've got some form of, although I have ex-wives, my wives still know, married to the plant first, married to myself, staying sovereign to and committed to legalization of the deschedulization of recreational, spiritual and industrial uses of cannabis. First and foremost, my mum and dad couldn't tell me not to allegedly do drugs. Principal at the college couldn't tell me allegedly not to do drugs. The government of Aotearoa could not tell me not to do drugs. My first and or second wives could not also tell me not to do drugs. There's a valid point in standing in your own truths. You lose some things that are valuable to you in the journey of being somebody that stands in their own 2 feet. So it's sometimes better to keep your mouth shut and then other times it's just like some things are bigger than yourself, bigger than
your feelings of comfortability and your feelings of safety. Sometimes after you clear the weeds, you realize what a wonderful garden you have.
So much love to my ex-wives, my ex-partners. I love them, and no, much love, honest to God. And I wouldn't be here where I am right now, being who I am, if we hadn't have had those aggressions.
Okay, well, yeah, I found that the most common thing that I had from parents who told me about their negative reactions from the community, it was always school drop-offs or pickups, and if you smell like cannabis. That would be the way that they said that they've felt different looks, different levels of whether their kids got invited to things. And so I'm glad that you haven't experienced that as much, but also I am so sorry for all of you parents out there who have experienced that sort of discrimination. That really sucks, and we will get better. Everyone will get better. It just takes time and patience. Sometimes we have to be the bigger and more tolerant people if we want to put ourselves in that sort of hierarchical fashion. I'm not normally about that, but you know what I mean, kids. You know what I mean.
Like, once again, when I showed my mother my jar of 10 grams of ganja, she immediately showed my auntie, who was visiting to come and see my child, "You should get some of this for your sore shoulder, it'll help you sleep at night."
Amazing.
And I was like, "Oh great." Now my mum's an advocate for the legal marijuana to get my auntie to sleep because of her sore shoulder. So.
And this is the mother who was trying to tell you not to do drugs as a kid, yeah?
Well, not that I shouldn't do drugs as a kid, just know that there's don't do drugs.
There's going to be someone who's going to tell you not to, and they might change options for you in life if you keep doing them. Right.
Yeah, she'll always love me, just like God.
Parents.
She's not going to send me to the burning pit of hell if that place does exist. But she will suggest don't do drugs. But that's just because she's uneducated around what the endocannabinoid system is and the reasons why I take drugs.
My favorite, you're not educated on what you're talking about, but I understand what you think you mean, is when my mother first tried to be accepting of my choosing to ingest, at that stage it was recreational cannabis. She got me a whole bottle of vitamin C chewables saying, "Your immunity is going to go down the toilet, but here I accept you." So that was really fun, and it's really cute. I've learned so much about how cannabis interacts with my immunity. I know that my mum wasn't really sure what she was on about, but it's really cute seeing how people who, they maybe didn't exactly start and come from an educated place, but they're trying to be accepting, they're trying to do the right thing. I think suggesting medicine for someone's shoulder is probably a bit better than my mum's giving me the vitamin C tablets, but I appreciate that she was trying to care and show that level of acceptance that would have been hard for her because of her upbringing personally. So that's cool, it's great that your mum's now going to be this lady who will think to say that instead of letting her friends just get zonked on what they would give them. Depending, once you get to a certain age, they just give you morphine. They're just like, you want to drool over yourself? As long as you're not screaming in pain. So yeah, I would definitely prefer people to have a healthy alternative. to the nasties. Yeah.
Well, my mother's ex-husband was dying of the cancer, and he didn't want to smoke any ganja, and my mother had decided to ask me for some to sneak into some brownies. And I said, no. His face, party attitude. I said, no, responsible drugs. Not to allow him to see the dragons unaware to the consumption of the THC molecule. You know, end-of-life patient doesn't necessarily need to be frightened to the death.
He might think that he's actually dying.
That might be the end of life.
He might be like, whoa, is this the DMT trip at the end?
Whoa, the dragons, whoa, the brownie tastes good. Whoa, the cacao, good chocolate, maple syrup, tasty. So dragons. No, so back to the conversation. I'm not into that, Mum. I said, Mum, no, we're not doing that to him. So I got some oils and balms, and I just made a lovely, and I said, you can rub that directly into his back, into his shoulders, wherever he's feeling pain. You can ingest it if he's open to ingesting it, but rub it all over his skin. You've got CB1 receptors under every hair follicle of your body. Once again, look into the CB1, CB2 receptors, and the other 5 new receptors that I'm drawing a blank on right now. More receptors have been found each and every day, kids. Keep up. But anyway, so my mother found this instant pain relief in her own hands that night after rubbing this cannabinoid infused oil onto her husband's back. She found instant pain relief in her arthritical hands.
Yes, the amount of times I have heard balms specifically are your best weapon against arthritic body bits. I tell you, I've had people tell me with certain, there's a tea tree canna balm that I know somebody uses, and by the time they're finished applying it, they say they can see a reduction visibly in the size of their limbs. Just from the start of the application to the end of application. That's how fast it works. So
I've seen eczema and inflammation disappear upon application. So literally red inflamed eczema skin wiped down with this balm, and then like a white, like just gone, inflammation gone, irritation gone, just like you would say it would be a miracle, but
no Jesus was involved, so we can't even say that. Just this Christ guy.
But yeah, you get frowned upon if you know, it's a miracle, look at that, wow, it's skeptical. But you know, it's not until you've had that in one experience of your own human truth, and also witnessed other human truths in the first person, that you come aware that maybe it is a miracle. Maybe cannabis is the secret herbs and spices that Jesus was issuing out in his miracle holy oil to all the people. I don't know, look into it. Cannabism, it's out there. Holy anointing oil given by Jesus to the people. Look into it. I don't know. I really feel